Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Blueprints, where we're ready to start our 6th day of drafting at Mount Holly Estate. Day 5 was not the greatest draft ever, but there were some important lessons that were learned, and I'm excited to apply those lessons. So why don't we go ahead and jump into Day 6 here. Day 5, the draft, we didn't get any like major discoveries like we did finding the antechamber lever or the what was it that we found before that? There's been a couple. Oh, the Alzara cutscene was a big one. Finding the revelation of the moon door, finding our way down below the well or into the well. We didn't have anything major like that happened with Day 5, but I think there was a really key. Well, for me at least, the lesson that I'm taking away from that day was, we're going to try to focus on rarity a little bit more. Let me bring up my little cheat sheet that I put together here and show you. I've put together a little spreadsheet of the commons, and I'll probably, when I have some time, I'll probably do the same thing for the uncommons and probably rares as well. By the way, forgive me if I do slip into a bit of Magic the Gathering lingo, because my brain wants to call them commons, uncommons, rares, and forgive me for getting the last rarity, ultra rares, super rares. What were they called? In Hearthstone, they're legendaries. But in this game, they're called rares. So it's weird, like, getting them mixed up. I want to call unusuals rares. Anyway, probably a fair few of you in the audience have some experience drafting Magic, so you can probably relate. So hopefully none of that is too confusing here. But these are the commons that I have been... I have added to my little spreadsheet here. There's a couple of them that do have, I think, some special requirements. I've noticed that the drawing room as well as the billiard room don't seem to show up until at least rank 3. So far, I have not seen those show up here at rank 1 or 2. And also the kitchen seems to be like every other room that requires a gem to purchase or to draft. They don't seem to show up in the pool until you've actually gained access to a gem, or as we saw in the case of drafting the den and then not picking up the gem, the game thinks you have a gem. Small little minor point here. Would the same thing happen with the parlor? Since the parlor does seem to reward gems pretty consistently, does the game think you have access to gems if you've just drafted the parlor but not played the game? Question mark? Don't tell me. We'll find out later. But that's beside the point. The thing I want to focus on here the most, though, is the fact that we have, at the start of the game, we have 3 dead-end commons: the closet, the storeroom, and the guest bedroom. We have 4 elbows: the parlor, the nook, the pantry, and the bedroom. We have 2 straight-throughs: the spare room and the corridor. And then we have 3 ways, we could call them: the den, the hallway, and the chapel. And I think the big mistake that I made, if we can also look at the pulling up the draft log from last time here, the day 5, I think the big mistake was the fact that we placed the den and the hallway at the bottom in row 1, because we only have, or rank 1, we only have access to 3 of these at common. The den, the hallway, and the chapel these are some pretty powerful cards, I think. Cards. I just called them cards. They're rooms. But I'm drafting a deck in my mind still. They're all the same. Drafting a house, drafting a deck. Regardless, those rooms are potentially some of the most powerful because they give you the most doors. And they are at common. They're the most likely to show up at any point in the draft if you have not drafted them yet. And I think that's where we went wrong, because think about the den, the entrance hall, and the hallway all right next to themselves here. You've given yourself, within the first 3 rooms, you've given yourself 5 options. Do you really need that many at the start? That's kind of too much. 5 options at the start is kind of ridiculous. And because you can't really, there's only 5 columns in the house altogether. You can't really efficiently path out from all 5 of these directions. Eventually you're going to kind of like cross over and run into one of these passageways out into the open, like we did with the spare room, like we did with the observatory, and now the entrance hall and the hallway both had a room a door that we weren't able to draft out of. We just completely wasted it. So I think we're going to try. And also, the other big deal is once you've used the den in the hallway, they're no longer available later. So when you get into tough spots where it's like, man, I really would love to have a hallway here so I can get out into the rest of the room or the rest of the house, then you don't have it available. So we're going to try to prioritize. I'm going to try to keep track of, using my little cheat sheet here, keeping track of the rooms that are available at common and trying to hold on to those hallways, those dens, the corridors, not the corridor, but the three-ways, as long as I possibly can, because they are so valuable and we don't necessarily need all the options that we can get all the time. It's okay, even at the start, it might be okay to just go ahead and draft a dead end if you have to, because you still have 2 more doors in the entrance hall leading out to the rest of the mansion. So without any further ado, that's going to be what's on my mind. Why don't we get to drafting? The only question that remains for me still is, what's the best way to start? Which direction is the best way to go? Now, we do have this blessing of the chef. To remind myself, one thing we did get last time, for each different type of spread that you do each day, add an extra dish to the dining room. So we could potentially be giving ourselves many extra steps at some point if we are able to get the dining room and some of the spread rooms. So that will be a consideration that we can maybe hope or bank on the fact that extra steps will be available down the road, and we don't have to, because that's been the thing that I was thinking it might be better to like have those rooms that are, well, let me hold that thought for now. Why don't we just get into the draft? I cannot stress enough how much fun I'm having with this game. This game is ridiculously fun. It is I might be a little bit obsessed, to be honest. To be perfectly frank, I might be just a little bit hopelessly obsessed. Because when I start making spreadsheets and I start taking copious notes in Google Docs, that's a sign. I did this with Hades. I definitely have done this with Hearthstone and Magic in the past. Poring over stats and spreadsheets. There's a part of my brain that just absolutely cannot get enough of it. Now, what do we start with here? Pantry, parlor, and spare room. Because of the fact that we do have the most elbows at common, it probably makes sense to take either the pantry or the parlor. And maybe it's best for us to take the pantry, because the parlor, if it does reward keys, maybe it does at some point, we've just been lucky getting gems, but either keys or gems are not a priority right away. We kind of don't really see locked doors until usually around like rank 5 or so, maybe rank 4. And the only thing we would need keys for would be trunks. And we don't know when trunks are going to show up. So I think for the moment, giving ourselves the extra steps and the coins, and being ready for potentially spending at a shop that we could unlock down the road, I think maybe that's been something that I've been a little hesitant to go after shops because I haven't had enough coins. Let's go ahead and take the pantry here. And I will, I think, go ahead and... Do I take the steps, though, right now? I might go ahead and draft in the other direction. I might draft here, because now if I draft another elbow, I could draft either an elbow or a dead end to the left in the entrance hall. And then I could maybe... I'm not sure. I am not sure here. Maybe it's best to go through the pantry and just... see where that path leads, or see if you can get another elbow. How do we want to play this? Because the way that the elbows work, they don't necessarily rotate the way that I might want them to. They rotate, I think, they will rotate if you're up against a wall. So when we're here on row rank 1, the pantry, if we had drafted on the other side, would rotate clockwise. However, if we were to draft the pantry or the parlor above the pantry here, it would go to the left, and it would be above the entrance hall. And that's, I think, what I kind of want to avoid. I don't want to have a situation where I am drafting to where I'm going to have 2 potential draft doors that lead to the same room. It feels like I'm kind of defeating the purpose of having this entrance hall here. This entrance hall already gets me to this room. I don't need another elbow from the pantry that would also get me there. So, does that mean that I want to go to one of the other entrance hall doors? I can take the pantry off of my cheat sheet here, and that leaves us with the parlor, the nook, and the bedroom. Like, it might even be best to have a dead end coming out of the pantry. I'm not sure. I think I like the idea of drafting to the left in the entrance hall, because that allows me to I can either put an elbow here, or I can put a dead end. And then I could hope to draft, if I have to dead end this here, I would hope to draft like an elbow that goes to the left out through the top of the entrance hall. So let's draft to the left. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right door here. Well, let's pick this one here. There's our coat check. Okay, so this is, I think, where we will take the coat check. Because another thing that I have kind of been overlooking is just rarity in general. The coat check is, I think, an uncommon. Yeah, the coat check is a standard, as the game refers to it. So just, it might sometimes be correct to just take the room that you know is not going to show up later. And that kind of plays into the strategy as well of holding on to your really good commons for when you really need them or when you have to rely on them. But if you also think about it, the coat check, just from a standpoint of the coat check near the front, near the entrance hall, you come in from outside and you check your coat. It kind of makes sense logically from an IRL sense. But yeah, this would also be good for our in-game sense or our in-game options, because when we're at the end of the run and we want to like come back to the front for some reason, we might want to go outside or who knows what, we can come back to the coat check and check in another secret garden key or whatever else that we get. And I think I actually want to have the secret garden key here for this run, because I get the sense that it's going to give us the cloister at some point. And if we are trying to, this is what I also want to do. I'm going to take the coat check here. What I also want to do is I want to try to draft out into the open instead of hugging the wall. Because if you draft out into the open, if you do get lucky and you get offered a room like the cloister or the passageway, then you're not getting like walled off on one of those sides that you could draft. You're actually being able to draft all 3 doors that lead out from the rest of that room. So let's retrieve our item. Let's get our secret garden key here and have a great day. There we go. So now I would like to draft, as I said, from the top of the entrance hall and maybe get an elbow that goes to the left. We'll see. But now we do have the consideration of we only have 2 ways out into the rest of the house. That's still okay. But we don't really, if we can help it, we don't want to get down to one direction. Or sorry, one option left. 2 is okay. 3 might be the sweet spot. Keeping like 3 potential doors open to draft out into the rest of the estate. Right now we're down to 2, so we really don't want to draft a dead end here. And unfortunately, oh wow, that's fascinating. So the kitchen has been offered to us. Oh, this is really unfortunate, isn't it? Because we actually do get access to the kitchen, even though we haven't unlocked a gem. Is that because there was a gem somewhere to get in one of these other rooms and I didn't pick it up? Did I not pick up what I was supposed to in the pantry? And was there a gem in the pantry that I could have gotten? So, okay, well, we might have a very short run here, potentially. I'm going to go ahead and take... Well, what do I take here? I might need to take the storeroom, because if the game is gonna, if it has already started offering us gem rooms, then I kind of need the gem. It's possible that I missed one in the pantry, but I can't take that chance because I didn't look very closely. So I think I have to take the storeroom here. And it's unfortunate that we've already dead-ended 2 of these. Now I might have to adjust strategies again, because there's a big fly in the ointment of my well, sometimes you might just not get lucky. We are playing a roguelike, and the drafting process, the best laid plans will go awry very quickly due to RNG. So let's take the storeroom, because that we can't get the kitchen, which I would love to get, but I can't. So the storeroom it is. We do get another broken lever. This is the third time that the game has given this to us, and I'm still not entirely sure where to use it, except I think we might want to use it in the room that there's a note in the office that talks about the greenhouse is what is mentioned there. The greenhouse gets mentioned as a room that has a broken lever in it. So that's the one place where where I could conceivably see us using that broken lever, but we'll have to find out. We gotta get to the greenhouse at some point, of course. And right now, we really need to get out of the pantry. We need to get out of rank 1. Because, yeah, but I think we still have a good chance to do that because we haven't used any of our 3-ways, and we still have elbows that I want to say the game would not, if we got like the parlor or something, I would like it to turn us to the right. It feels, let's find out. Let's just find out what happens. Let's just open the draft and see what we get. We do, in fact, get the chapel, and I think this is a slam dunk, except it doesn't rotate it. So this is another flaw in my game plan. This is another flaw here, because I would love to draft the chapel here, but it doesn't turn it the way that I want. So what we're going to have to do then is take the bedroom and hope to get the chapel next. But even then, the chapel is not being used in a great spot because we're not one of the end. Yeah, I might be thinking too far ahead. I would love to get the nursery. Oh, you know what? We forgot to draft the room outside. I'm getting so far ahead of myself here. This is unfortunate because, well, it may not be unfortunate. It may be perfectly fine, but I did not draft the room outside. We're gonna take the bedroom here. We're gonna take the bedroom, and then what? There's no trunk there. Let's go back and draft the room outside while we're still here, while we're still not completely. I hope I get the nursery offered again, because I'm going to need to make up some steps here. Oh boy, man, this is, there's still so much to learn. I'm still very much a noob. I want to get good at this game because I'm enjoying it so much. And these are little small things, but the steps matter, and making the right decisions definitely matters. Okay. What is this? There's a new option here. The shelter. We have shelter, root cellar, and hovel. The shelter protects you from the negative effects of the next 3 red rooms drafted. Oh my God. Wow. Yo, the shelter. That seems really good. The root cellar and the hovel I have both been thinking about trying. Because I was going to take the hovel if it was offered. That was my thought. Because I want to see what is the exchange rate on footsteps to gems. But now this shelter is here. And it would protect us from the chapel if we have to draft that pretty soon. We could save some coins. Let me look at my red rooms here. In my notes. It doesn't protect us from the lavatory. If only it could protect us from not drafting the lavatory. That would be great. Can I, like, that's really, that's the lavatory's negative effect, that it's in the draft pool. We need to get it out of here. The gym is uncommon or standard, and that would be nice, being able to take the gym. Or the red room, sorry, the dark room. Man, the dark room without, being able to see the floor plans in the dark room. Side note, by the way, the last run, I made a big mistake of not exploring the darkroom after I turned the lights back on. I thought about it when I was going through and taking some notes from my footage. I realized, oh my God, I did not explore the darkroom. So that's another point of emphasis here is if and when we get the darkroom, and the utility closet, we're going to try to make a point of examining the dark room, not in the dark, but it would be great if we can just fully light up the dark room altogether by deactivating its negative effect. So we just have to make sure that we don't draft the lavatory. That's the one thing here, is that we don't want to draft the lavatory. But even if we do, we can still get the next two of the red rooms that we draft in addition to the lavatory. We can have their negative effects removed. Man, is that better than being able to... The fact that we are already kind of down on footsteps, that I've been, you know, perhaps inefficient with the way that I have traversed the estate already, it might be the better option here to go with the shelter. I think that is what I'm going to pick. Let's go with the shelter. And, of course, we have to check inside, even though it's going to cost us a few extra steps, but there may be valuable items and or intel to find in here. Anything useful in the shelter besides what has already been provided? Oh, whoa, there's a terminal here. There is a terminal. Pretty painting. And some ominous music. There is, yes, who has been... They got a few bunks here, so this is not just this is not a single hermit stashed away in his bunker. It maybe is just the place where the staff goes to hang out here and there, but it does have canned fruit, canned water. There's a note. Remain where you are for now, given that the Red Guard is due tomorrow. We've agreed with the Red Guard? We've agreed with your plan and have disabled remote access to the other terminals and have sealed the network mainframe. Regardless of the danger, I'm still not willing to risk removing shelter from the draft pool while the three of you are down there. Our best bet is to sit tight and hope for a little bit of luck. I do love how the fact that we're drafting the draft pool, the way that the game works is just part of the in-game universe. Hilarious. The hell is the Red Guard? And who has written this note? And who was it written to? We've agreed with your plan. Let's go ahead and read. Yeah, like that we've got vitamins here as well. So it does feel like it's not just a staff getaway. This is an underground bunker. It just has multiple bunks. Let's go ahead and read the flavor text here. The shelter, an underground bunker located away from the main house. This fallout shelter was designed specifically for air raids and features thick walls made from lead and other materials intended to block radiation. So this is like World War II, Cold War era style shelter. A computer terminal within has been connected to the house's network system should an emergency necessitate remote access. Gosh, that's making me wonder, what exactly is this game going to have in store? Don't tell me, of course. But man, if we're set up here to potentially survive some sort of nuclear holocaust, what the hell's going to happen in this game? This is unusual rarity. The tool shed, are these all unusual? They're all technically unusual. Okay. So what does it matter if there must be like one that's not? There's got to be one that's actually a rare, or maybe a couple. Because otherwise, what's the point of having them all the same rarity? Let's go ahead and check the terminal. What can we do here? Welcome to Mount Holly Bomb Shelter. We have a time lock safe, radiation monitor, and once again a login to network, which I presume is going to have just the same as before. Or at least the same length of the password. So it's presumably the same password for all of them, for all the terminals. Time lock safe. The shelter's time lock safe can be accessed by setting an unlock date and time. The time lock safe, you can use any date and time as long as it's at least 1 hour in the future. Once unlocked, the time lock safe will remain open for 4 hours. Was there a safe in here that I overlooked? Was there a safe? It is right here. Duh. Time lock safe. That's really interesting. There is a time lock safe here. and we have no idea what's inside. Would it be gems or keys, stuff that would benefit us for this single day? Or would it be something that we could potentially carry over with us, whether it's an item that can be stashed at the coat check or precious intel? Because we do have the overall puzzle game aspect to this, where we're gathering all these pieces of information, Myst-like fashion. So that, you know, I kind of want to find out today, but the thing is, there is a time, as much as steps are the only thing that matter, we know that the clock ticks away. So this is where time finally is coming into, is finally a concern. We could set, it has to be an hour into the future. So I wonder, is it like, it might be a little cheesy, but I could just set this to unlock within an hour. Does it tell me what time it is right now? How do we know what time it is at the moment? Was there a, let's go, I'd like to go back. Let me look at the room one more time here. Is there actually a, there's a clock in basically every single room that you draft. Do they have one in the shelter? Or is this the one place where there's not a clock? So to see that I don't have a clock as part of my pause or my blueprint menu. So I would basically have to guess or go back outside, take a step, go back and look at the clock that's on the estate and remind myself. What about the radiation monitor? A measurement of the radiation levels detected in the house and surrounding grounds. These readings are often spiked by the experiments. Oh, the experiments conducted in Mount Holly's laboratory, which we have not drafted yet. Oh man. So okay, they do have to worry about radiation. If the reading is 12 USV or higher, emergency protocol will initiate and all doors in the house will automatically unlock. Oh my god. So that's really cool. This room has synergy with the laboratory. If you can somehow manage to draft the laboratory, then you could theoretically come back here and unlock every single room in the house. Would that include security key card doors? I wonder. We'll take the USV measurement right now, but of course there's not going to be enough to trigger anything, but I just kind of want to see how this works. There you go. Okay, so it gives a very low reading, as you would expect. This time lock safe, though, what do I want to do about this? Because I kind of want to see now what's inside. Let's go look at the clock. I want to get a sense, remind myself how quickly time passes. And I'd like to do it without crossing back over the gate and taking another step if I can. So right now it looks like it's like 12:15. And it's not moving absurdly slowly. I could go ahead and set this for like, yeah, that actually passes. That's not unreasonable. So I think what I want to do is I want to set this for, the thing is I don't know right now if it's 12 p.m. or a.m. I should have, like, it's early in the day still, right? So it's p.m. What I'm going to try doing is setting this for 1:45 p.m. if I can make it there quickly enough. We have to set it 1 hour in advance, right? And then, so what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll just set it for an hour and then wait. I'll just kind of wait and see if this thing pops open. The problem is I need to know the date. Oh god, it's day 6. We know day 1 is November 7th. So day 6 is +5 on that, so it's November 12th. So November 12th. And we want to do PM. Oh, okay, I can't do, I have to do, I have to round it to the nearest hour, so we're going to do 2 p.m. Let's do 2 p.m. and see. Okay, November 12th, 2 p.m. Now, could we overwrite that if we wanted to? Maybe. But I'm going to sit here and just wait for now and see if that pops open in roughly an hour or so. Game time, of course. Thankfully, game time. In the meantime, I'll read a little bit more of Drafting Strategy Volume 1. Double check my drafting strategies while I wait. It would be pretty nice for us to draft a nursery. We have a gem now, and I don't think, have we actually drafted the nursery yet? Because we've upgraded it, right? We have an upgraded nursery now. So I was really, it was like, oh, I wanted to draft a nursery this run, but of course it would have been an end to the run if we had picked it. They would offer it in that situation, wouldn't they? But I'm also really excited about this possibly subverting the negative effects. Imagine getting offered the weight room. If we get offered the weight room now, oh my God. Not having to pay half our steps is going to be so hype. Oh, and I do see now, I see it now on the negative space, the red page, I see it in the red room section of the drafting strategy book. Shelter is one of the synergies that's listed. Now we know what they were talking about. I hope I got the time right. And I'm hoping that it will let you open it on the same day. But maybe I didn't get the day right. Yeah, November 7th was day 1, so day 6 should be the 12th. And that's today. The only thing I could have messed up would have been the AM versus PM. All right, I'm gonna have to go out and check and spend. I mean, we're gonna have to exit eventually, anyways. I want to see what's in this safe, but I don't know that I'm getting. I just wish there were a clock in this room. That would be so much nicer if I could set that. You know, based on that instead of having to walk outside. But we work with what we've got. Fortunately, at least they put a clock. Somebody had the foresight to at least put a clock on the outside of the house. God damn it, it's only 1:30. Oh my God, I'm just so impatient. Okay, well, now that we're here in front of the house, now I can actually wait for when this clock changes. I'm just... Oh, a watch pot never boils. Never truer. All right, and 2 o'clock has arrived. So let's head back down and hope that I got this right. Because otherwise, I better get a nursery. That's all I can say. I'm going to need some steps. Help. My steps are almost gone already. It worked. It worked. And was it opening just as we got here? Awesome. We do get a gem, but it's a red gem. It actually is just a gem. Okay. But there is something else. Oh no, that was holding the gem. Okay. That's a very special gem, or we haven't seen one that looks like that before, but it only counted as 1. All right. We have an envelope with the number 7. Okay. Is that it? Okay, I was going to say there's got to be something inside. Dear Uncle, the disappearance of my cousin Mary has long sat unfavorably with me and my father. The disappearance of my cousin Mary. Who is writing this? Dear Uncle. Mary's supposed to be our mother, correct? I guess we'll wait till... Let's just read the letter. And I do this all the time. I want to know. I have questions as I'm going, and I just need to just keep reading. Questions will be answered. And I will freely admit to you that the chilly airs of indifference you may have felt in my presence can be attributed entirely to the suspicions that I have harbored for these past years. Suspicions entirely aimed at yourself. And while I have never had the opportunity to prove it, I felt very strongly that you had some deeper involvement in those events 4 years ago. The circulating rumors of those months did nothing but further reinforce my convictions in this fact. Those of us that are once bitten are twice shy, and I'm aware of the cost my aggressively aloof behavior has had on the social standing of our family. I do not apologize for my actions, though I am now unwilling to admit that the conclusions I reached may have been flawed. So what the hell is going on here? Events of 4 years ago. Last week, I had a confidential conversation with one of our mutual acquaintances, a conversation that has shed more light on this mystery than all of my father's countless fruitless inquiries over the years. I now have reason to believe that you were in fact responsible for smuggling my cousin under cover of night across the red border to the southern seafront. And I believe this may have occurred in September, a full 7 months after she was reported missing. A date that coincides not with her public disappearance in February, but instead with the notable theft of the ruby crown. Is that what we just picked up? Or did we pick up the ruby taken from the ruby crown? This is getting super interesting all of a sudden. Oh my God, the intrigue that has been introduced. If the Blackwater insurgents were in fact responsible for the heist, as some have claimed, I believe this scenario entirely plausible. And the fact that 2 of the crown's 8 rubies have now surfaced has given me renewed optimism that she is still alive. The crown actually had 8. That's why it was called the Ruby Crown. It had a whole bunch of them. Alive, safe, and finally free. Perhaps my willingness to accept such a sensational story betrays my own desperation. Desperation for answers, desperation for hope, and desperation for a narrative in which you are not the villain. In that distant land we all dream of, the land where the strangling crimson curtains draped across our sky are pulled back, and the windows and shutters of discontent flung wide open. In that distant land, I pray one day to find our Marion safe, happy, and absolved. Holy shit. Political palace intrigue. Courtney is the name at the end is also a very important part, which I had already kind of, as I was reading out loud, I had read ahead. My eyes had strayed down and absorbed the information of the name at the end, which is Courtney. Could the other lady, we've seen a lady in the photos with the Cindy Crawford mole, is it actually the Courtney mole? Is she the other lady in question here? And that would make her Mary's cousin and our aunt. And is she writing to Mr. Sinclair? She's got to be writing to Herbert Sinclair, doesn't she? Maybe, maybe not. But was he involved somehow in... She's accusing him of smuggling my cousin under cover of night across the red border to the southern seafront. Does that mean that he kidnapped her? Or was he helping her to run away, smuggling her? What does that mean exactly? The way that this accusational tone suggests that there is kidnapping, that this is being done against Mary's will. Because she had a public disappearance. And if she had left willingly, she probably would have left behind some sort of communication to let people know that she was leaving on her own. Blackwater insurgents, a ruby crown. She talks about this red curtain, the strangling crimson curtains. What is going on here? It does feel like it's not quite... There's a lot of fictional elements in play here, but they are, it seems, potentially making allusions. Like, in my mind, you could be referring to a couple different things. The crimson curtains could refer to, like, the communist red curtains or the Nazi red curtains. It's not exactly clear what, but it's some fictional, I think, in-game political struggle that maybe makes allusions to real-world events and uses the player's familiarity with those as a backdrop. Take screenshots of all of these, of course. That is unbelievably fascinating. And we have a ruby that's added to our collection here. I'm so excited to learn more. Holy shit. That's part of what is making this game just amazing, honestly. This game is so freaking good so far. If it were just the drafting portion on its own, it would probably be a really fun game. But you added this. There is a story. There is a puzzle that's meant to be put together, both story-wise and getting to the bottom of things in general. Having that as this, even when your run gets off to a shaky start like it has for us here, wasting steps, drafting dead ends where we didn't want them, in spite of all that, we still learned a really, really absolutely intriguing piece to the overall story puzzle. All right. So there was no gem, by the way, in the pantry. And it is very, I'm going to have to review my draft results maybe once again to my conclusion that I had come to about gem rooms not being offered until you actually have access to gems. That might need to be revisited. Perhaps it's not quite what I thought it was. Oh, shit. This is actually, the red envelope is an icon on our map, our blueprint. It's not an inventory item, but it is noted here. It's noteworthy enough that we have picked this up. Do we have this permanently now, I wonder? We'll find out when we get to day 7. Why is that showing up as, like, do we have to have this envelope and give it to somebody later or use it in some way to further our progress? Want to find out more? In the meantime, though, I need to get a little bit lucky here at the bedroom, or just not terribly unlucky. A kitchen would be more than fine. I'll be more than happy to take a kitchen here. A drawing room is okay, but... Oh, I definitely can't take the nook, can I? They aren't... See, this is where... Oh, they're not rotating the nook. I want them to rotate the nook, goddammit. Why are you pointed in that direction? Well, now... we might just take the drawing room. Now, interestingly, the drawing room is here on rank 2. So it may not be that the drawing room is... I forgot that there's a gem requirement on the drawing room. So it's not necessarily that it doesn't show up until rank 3. It's whenever you've unlocked gem rooms. At whatever point that happens, which apparently can happen, maybe the fact that we drafted the pantry and the fact that we drafted a currency, in this case coins, perhaps drafting any currency at all of a sudden in the game logic, it says, here you go. You could have some gems as well, or you can start buying gem rooms if you want. Or maybe the pantry just randomly gets gems sometimes. Now, in this case, we have 2 gems, which is great. And I think because we really need to make sure we get not unlucky, the drawing room is the correct choice here. We'll get the den. It's a common. It's take your uncommon here, or the drawing room is a common, but take the one that is less likely to show up. And we definitely, obviously, don't take the nook here because you're done. So drawing room it is. And now the question becomes, do we... There was no sleep mask or any other items to be found in the bedrooms, so... But the bedroom is a freebie anyway, so you don't have to worry about taking steps back and forth from the bedroom. Anything to be found here? Doesn't look like it. So the question is, do we draft to the top or the bottom first? We've now used our drawing room, so I can take that out of my pool here. We have 2 dead ends left, closet and guest bedroom, and we have 3. Now is a time where I would be, more than happy to have a chapel, obviously with the benefit of the shelter, but also just giving me more options. Because now we only have 1 option left to the rest of the house. We need to branch that out into 2. So we really need to pick. This is where we need to use one of our 3 ways. So I think while there's still 3 of them in the pool, we go ahead and draft in the direction of up first. We do that. And we take the chapel. We are being offered security as well. I think the spare room is not the choice here. It's between either chapel or security. Is there any... We could redraw as well, but I think I'm at least taking the chapel. It's just a question of whether security is sufficiently better for us to want to spend a gem here. I don't think I need to check for the estate inventory, and I don't think I need to change the keycard system settings because we're still only at rank 2. We have a ways to go before we might start running into keycards. So I think this actually is a pretty easy chapel. Just wanted to think about that for a second, but chapel here is perfect. And now I think we turn around before going into the chapel, and we do try to draft a dead end here. I think this is where we would like to get. A mailroom would be fantastic, and we have a chance to redraw. So if we don't get a dead end that we want to put here, we go ahead and we redraw. I think that's the way we play this. And we do, in fact, get a closet. Or a nursery! There we go. Boom. I forgot about the nursery for a second. We are totally slam dunking this upgraded version of a nursery. Let's fucking go. Unfortunately for us, we did already draft our bedroom, which is a little sad. So this is only when you draft a bedroom do you gain at 8 steps. But we do still have a guest bedroom, and we have whatever other bedrooms may come our way. So I think it is a slam dunk nursery, but it's not like super slam dunk just because we did already draft the bedroom. That's a big deal. The other thing we do know about the bedrooms, though, is that they are likely to contain items. Whether it be gems, we've had quite a few gems that have appeared in various bedrooms, especially the bunk room. So let's go ahead and take the nursery here. And we get a new room. Oh, and the nursery affects itself. Duh, why wouldn't it affect itself? Of course. I don't know why I would have thought otherwise. Derp de derp. Of course. And would you know it? It paid for itself. Haha, let's fucking go. Items do show up in the bedrooms. The bedrooms, that's not something that is on your screen when you're making your decision, but you really need to take that into account. Here's our T-Rex toy over here. Rawr. Oh, a Rubik's Cube. All right. Lots of toys in this guest bedroom. A more children's... It's a nursery. Duh. Sometimes I'm a little slow, guys. The laser focus brain has a tough time coming out of min-max optimization, making the best possible choice in my draft to, oh yes, that's right, this is a baby's room. A baby's room in a baby game. What is our book here? The king has spoken. Oh, this is the Red Prince. Oh shit. Hold on, I gotta take some screenshots here. The Red Prince by Marion Marigold. There was a red prince who sat on a red throne. He had a red crown made of rubies. Oh, he did. What? And a red castle made of stone. Oh, this is so much more fascinating now that we have read this letter, because the red crown, she wrote about the red crown, which is apparently an actual thing that was stolen by whoever she is mixed up with, whether willingly or not. She put this in her book. Now, maybe maybe the red crown is just a well-known thing, right? There maybe is an IRL king that wears this ruby crown. And maybe these are the symbolic of the crimson curtains that are part of... We might need to reread those archives news pages, because it talked about like red and blue as having like political affiliation, I think. The prince had a love for all things red. It's the only true color, the prince often said. Oh, I just realized this is Cirrus, isn't it? We got apples, we got a rose, a wagon, a lobster. Oh my God. He could not stand the sight of a canary or a crow. He could not stand the white of a swan in the snow. And he never looked up for fear of the view. He had heard that the sky was not a red hue. Damn that sky. So he always had a book to turn his eyes down if he was ever outside when the clouds weren't around. Well, the clouds aren't red either, so you can't look at those clouds, can you either? You just can never look at the sky. And do you know which book the prince always had? The one that made him happy whenever he was sad? A story, this is cute. The story he read in the bath and the bed, and maybe you can guess with the clues that we have said. It was the story of a boy who also wore red, and he looked like our prince from his toes to his head. And as you, my reader, might already assume, this book is quite near you. In fact, in the same room. A story about you, if it needs to be said, about a red prince and his book, the red book we just read. That is adorable. I love it. But also, screw Cirrus and his red pages. Awesome. The nursery has been drafted, and the Red Prince, the talk about, man, the plays on words in this game. We've read the Red Prince, haha. All right, moving right along. Now we go to the chapel, and now we get to choose what we want to do in the chapel. And guess what? Guess what? I don't gotta pay no tithe. Let's fucking go. I ain't paying no tithe today, bitch. It's not Sunday. It ain't Sunday, it's Thursday. I wish I could, you know, apply that logic to the previous days that weren't Sunday, but you know, hey. Also, I cursed in the chapel, sorry. So now we are into rank 3, and I do believe that is where the billiard room starts showing up. So it would be really nice to get some more resources. So the parlor is available, the nook is available, the billiard room is available. However, those are all potentially rooms that face, or they're elbows that go to the left, at least the way that they're oriented in the menus, right? When you look at them in the screen here, they seem to go to the left, which means we would want them, if anywhere, we would want them on, we wouldn't want them to go out to this left door in the chapel. But at the same time, the game rotates these things in ways that I'm not always expecting. Like it rotated the office yesterday, day 5, up here in a way that I wasn't expecting at all. So maybe it would actually rotate the rooms in the right direction if I go here first. This is what I'm not clear about, is what exactly are the rules on elbow rotation. So I think I'm going to draft to the left first and see. We're going to find out. Oh, I like that I've got I just noticed the icon that says we're sheltered. We're sheltered from... It's so funny that you have to be sheltered in the chapel from apparently religious radiation or something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and... This is the left, right? I just want to double check here and make sure I didn't get turned around. We're drafting to the left. Okay, I had a feeling it was probably going to give us some of these straight ways, straight throughs. Now, how will it rotate the commissary? That is, okay, so in the case of the commissary, it's like the other elbow rooms that I would expect to go to nowhere. And so I don't want to draft that. So I think this is a fairly easy spare room. And then that might be a place, well, it depends on how they rotate it. I don't know how they're going to rotate things. This is the thing, I'm not experienced enough yet to know. If I were to draft the den through the spare room, would it get drafted or added in a way that gives me 2 additional pathways, or would one of them dead end into the storeroom? So let's take the spare room here, and then we can decide. We can maybe look and see if there's anything to pick up in the storeroom that we can see. We can decide now whether we want to draft. I feel like I want to draft here in the chapel, and this is where I would be aiming for, if I think about the commons that are left. Now I would be aiming for, I could take an elbow at this point, right? The parlor, any of the elbows that go to the left would be perfectly fine because they're still not closing me off. So I think this is where we do with our pool the way it is. We draft before we move forward. So when we do get offered the parlor, we can take it. Now this is interesting though, because we have finally gotten the greenhouse offered. The greenhouse, I'm guessing, is probably at least unusual rarity, because this is the first time we've seen it. And who knows, it might be rare. We have the greenhouse, and we have a broken lever. So this would be our opportunity. This would be our opportunity to investigate the greenhouse. And maybe we take that. Because I did say one of the things I wanted to do was prioritize rarity a little bit more highly. This is a risky one, though, because it only leaves us one single option into the rest of the estate, while we still have the parlor and other elbows in our pool that are probably not going to rotate the way we want them when we draft out of the spare room. So taking a dead end here, as it apparently seems to be, the greenhouse looks like it is a dead end by all appearances. It makes us more likely to draw green rooms while drafting. So the courtyard would be more likely, and other green rooms would be more likely drafting out of the spare room. The problem is we would be spending a gem here. And I want to say, do the green rooms not all cost gems? The green rooms do all cost gems. We are not gem rich enough to really make benefit of this greenhouse. It just doesn't make enough sense here. I want to check this out. I want to explore it, but I also want to keep this run going. I don't want to end the draft as soon. Like, this could be, we're right up. The parlor is the correct decision here, I think. It sucks to pass such a rare option like this, but it's going to come around again, right? We will get it back eventually because, you know, and if nothing else, you know, we get to look forward to just more drafts, more draft decisions and more drafts one way or the other until we get that greenhouse. The smart pick, I think here, the consistent pick to make our draft go as deep as possible is the parlor. Let's take it. Now the question is, from where do we draft next? Because now I feel like going into the parlor would get us gems, wouldn't it? It would get us gems. And then we're kind of faced with the same choice, either from the parlor door or the spare room door. One or the other is going to potentially, either one of those, if we get elbows offered to us, they're going to dead end us. So there's still, we can take the parlor out of the pool here. There's the nook that's left, there's the kitchen, and there's the billiard room. And also there's two dead ends as well. There's a closet and a guest bedroom, but those are just dead ends no matter what. Got to take the chapel out of here. We have the hallway and the den that are left. But I'm not sure that either one of those is going to get rotated the way that I want. Oh, and actually, as I think about it, no matter what way you rotate the hallway or the den, it's actually a suboptimal positioning in either one of these places. So it really doesn't matter from which direction we draft, does it? And maybe it's better for us to try to draft at rank 4, because I don't quite know all the different ranks yet, but I feel like there are definitely rooms that become available the higher ranks that you get. And maybe that's what we want here, is just expand our pool. I don't know. We'll draft from the parlor. Let's play the parlor game, and then we will draft from the parlor, and we'll see where we get from there. We'll check around for items. Looks like no items this time. So we'll play our game here. Let's walk through. Start with our blue box, which is, I like just going from left to right. Okay, the gems are on the desk. That's a lie. I don't see any gems on any desk. So we've met the criteria. We've satisfied the false criteria. The gems are in this box. Well, that could be true or false. We don't know about that one. This one, the gems are on the floor. Okay, that's also clearly false, is it not? Unless they've hidden these gems behind the couch or something. We can't actually walk behind the couch, funny enough. But it does not look like there's anything, unless there's a sus wall or sus wall. Roll into the sus wall. Yeah, I don't. Those are both false statements, right? Which means that this one has to be true, which means the gems are in this box. And there they are. I feel like we've always gotten gems from the parlor game, have we not? That feels like that is a given. But in the case of the billiard room, we've definitely gotten keys at least once, but I don't remember if we've gotten gems. I still need to go back and catalog exactly what rewards we've gotten from each room. My brain wants to do that. I love compiling stats and these sorts of things. We draft from the parlor, and we see what we get. Okay. Now, wait a second. I'm so confused. Why, in this case, is the Nook being offered here? I mean, not that it's being offered, but it's being rotated in the direction that I want. What was different about the last one? I have to go back and review the draft, but it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why the Nook. I think the Nook is the correct choice here. The Nook is the correct choice. And then I go back to, I think I go back to the spare room, or let's think about this. So if we take the Nook, we're going to be left with 2 elbows, 2 dead ends, a corridor, and then the 2 three-ways, the den and the hallway. So we're still most likely to 2 dead ends, but also 2 three-ways. So, and there would still be 2 elbows. So maybe drafting from here is the correct option. The thing is, now that we're at the Nook and we're going to be drafting into rank 5, this is where locks may start showing up. Now, what I'm not sure about is once we get, locks do start appearing at rank 5. Okay, I think I just answered my own question. I was going to say, because here's the thing. So when we unlock a certain rank, when we've drafted into rank, say, 8 or rank 9, whatever rooms that are unlocked as a consequence of getting to rank 8, and now you have access to, say, I don't know yet, the office, is that one of those that is only at rank 8 or 9? I don't know for sure, but let's just use that as an example. The office being unlocked by the fact that you're now at rank 8 and you have the ability to draft the office, I think that just gets added to the pool for anywhere. So if you have reached a maximum rank 8, any room that could be drafted at rank 8 could be drafted at any other rank. So you could come back to the spare room at rank 3 and potentially draft a rank 8 room once you've already reached that far on the map. However, I don't think locked doors work the same way. I feel like we read in the security room, it told us about the fact that locks are more likely to appear the farther north you are. So I think the lock system works differently. So what we could do is we could take the Nook and go back to and draft the spare room and try to fill out the rest of the lower ranks before we have to start worrying about unlocking doors. And we could see if we get some trunks and other things like that. I think that's what I want to do. But we could also just draft the door out of the Nook and see where that goes. Okay, there's so many. I mean, the other option here is just to go with the corridor, but leaving the corridor for when this could be a thing, putting the corridor at rank 5 and guaranteeing that we have an unlocked door there could be very nice. So let's do that. The more that I think about it, I actually think it's correct to draft this room next. And then see where we go from there. No items in here? Doesn't look like it. So let's draft from the Nook. And we are offered a passageway. Look at that. That's pretty hype. I think this is a pretty slam dunk passageway. What do you think, guys? What do you think? If we were to take the hallway... Now, see, it's interesting. It's so interesting that this is how the hallway is aligned. Why does it align the hallway like this? Is it because of... Is it a function of the room before it? Like the hallway gets rotated based on the fact that you're drafting from this particular door in the Nook? And the same thing goes with the parlor before it, because we were drafting out of the door that we were in the parlor, that the Nook got rotated the way it is. Maybe there's some consistency there that I haven't been thinking about, and we might want to think about a little bit more. But this is a great, like, it spends 2 of our gems, and, you know, at the same time, it puts us up to, is it really necessary? It does spend 2 of our gems, which is a lot. And I've said, and I was saying to myself previously, that getting to like 3 options, having 3 potential ways forward is maybe the sweet spot. And we would get that with the hallway. We would lose our common 3-way. We would be down to just the den left. And the passageway we know is, I think, unusual. So this could be our only chance to draft the passageway, and it's kind of a perfect spot for it. So even though we're opening up 4 potential pathways, like, we could draft the passageway and then just put a dead end to the right and not have to worry about that path anymore. That's probably the smartest choice, because we still have the closet and we have the The guest bedroom as well would be perfect, right? We really want to get the guest bedroom because of the nursery synergy. So the passageway here is, I think, the right call, and we will get some more gems. Feels good. And I think that's the first time that we've drafted the passageway, correct? And it sounds like we get some music. Let's check it out. Let's give it a look. It's a passageway. I don't know what I was expecting, but, you know, you never know what you're going to find in a new room. The buzz of the incandescent lights is a nice touch. Although I don't know why these lights are buzzing more than the rest, but there you go. Let's read our flavor text real quick. Our new room here, the passageway. A long, cramped series of unfinished passages used primarily by the servant staff to traverse the estate quickly. Wait a minute. It is commonplace. Oh my god, it's actually commonplace. However, it may be one of these that only gets offered after, say, tier 5. So I'd have to go back. I can actually check my notes, because this is one thing I have been kind of taking some notes on, is when I've been seeing what have my draft picks been and where, at what rank have I seen them. So if I look at the passageway, I can see that at one point in last draft, I think we were offered it at rank 3. So it might start showing up as early as rank 3, but you do need gems for it. 2, in fact. So would the game only offer it to you when you have 2 gems? Once again, rhetorical questions. Do not tell me. Only one more hallway to uncover. One more of those rooms to find our way to eventually. I think this is a perfect opportunity, though, for us to make sure we draft in the correct direction here, facing eastward. But I'd love to get a guest bedroom here. Guest bedroom. Por favor. Rosary hands that we see in the sketches. Pray for us. Extra hard to give us a guest bedroom. Oh, it's a locked door. Okay. I don't want to just use a key. We have our special key that we've picked up. This is the other consideration here. Now that special key, if it does get us the cloister, we don't have anywhere near the gems for it. So we might want to go back to the spare room and try to collect some gems in the earlier ranks where there are no locked doors. I think that's definitely going to be the play, especially if we do use one of our keys here and get ourselves a guest bedroom. And that is what I'm going to do. Let's do it. Okay, no guest bedroom. Dang, that's actually unfortunate. That is unfortunate. That is a really bad roll, actually. I mean, it's not a terrible roll. We could just take the East Wing Hall and leave our option open, even though we're not utilizing an option that goes downward. But we also know that the East Wing Hall is not going to show up in too many places. It's only going to get offered here on the far right-hand side of the map. This wouldn't be a terrible place to put the kitchen, but when we have a nursery, the kitchen doesn't feel quite as... I don't know, maybe you can just never get enough steps. But spending my gem on a kitchen here is not very thrilling. Boy, having some reroll dice is also really... It's our runs that have had those dice have been so much better. I think in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take the East Wing Hall. We're not getting full value out of the fact that the East Wing Hall is a 3-way, but we still have 4 options open to us to draft, and we don't use the last of our gems for a kitchen, which we may or may not need, given that we have a nursery. Even though we did start out kind of wasting some steps. But I'm going to use the East Wing Hall here. And then we are going to go back. The kitchen is a common, which hopefully we can get at any time if we're desperate enough. And we will take the few steps that it takes to go back to the spare room, and we'll draft in that direction. We also haven't technically checked the spare room. Okay, no loose change laying around here this time. That was just the one time I think that we found anything in the spare room. Maybe there was an item one time. Let's draft, though. New draft. Aha! There's an observatory. The observatory would be okay here. The hallway would not be so great. I don't love having a hallway here. So what I'm thinking we might want to do, let me think about our options here. We have left, we've used the Nook. So I'll take the Nook out of my little cheat sheet here. We still have both the kitchen and the billiard room, which would make a lot more sense for us to have the observatory that goes up and then an elbow that takes us out to the left and puts us into the open space left on the west side of the estate. That would be kind of the ideal scenario here, rather than using one of our two common three-ways and wasting one of the exits out of it. It does spend our last gem, but it does get us the observatory. Let me remind myself what the reward is from the observatory. Because we get 3 stars. We'll have 3 stars now. And the observatory would get us the slice, which is plus 3 steps. Okay, not the most amazing reward in the world. Wow, those 2 trunks. The difference in the rewards here. 4 stars is going to be a gem. 5 stars is going to be rooms with 4 doors are more common today. I get it because you've got, I'm looking at my screenshots here. The stars are aligned in kind of a plus shape, or the same way that the passageway is aligned. The Southern Cross. Okay, so the reward from the observatory for 3 stars is not really what we're going. We wouldn't be just drafting it for that. It's like that alone is not worth 3 gems. Sorry, 1 gem. And I guess it does take away our option to draft the kitchen as our elbow that takes us out to the left. We would be spending our gem there. I forgot that part. Do we just take the corridor then and try rolling again out in the open? And then that's where we can put our hallway or our den? We don't get the usage out of the corridor, but this is maybe the smart spot to use it. Save our gems still, keep our powder dry, so to speak, and try to get the observatory in a spot that is a little less risky. That might be what's correct here. I think I like that plan. Drafting out through the corridor leaves us so many more options. And we do want the options at these ranks because we need to make sure we're not running into locked doors at rank 5 and beyond. Let's do it. And we check for items. Nothing here. And so we move on to the next draft option. And we do get offered the hallway. Bust out the map. So the hallway and the courtyard are both, they're oriented differently. And maybe eventually, hopefully, I figure out what the commonalities are here. The library is super interesting, though, because we know that we have something waiting for us in the library. And also, there are less common floor plans that are available with that. But I do love the idea of going with the hallway and continuing our draft in both directions, because there's a lot of empty space still to fill up with that. So I feel like it's either that or the courtyard, right? The courtyard could be just as powerful here, but it does spend a gem. And we don't really have any, we don't have a shovel. There could be a trunk in the courtyard, which we do have a key for. But we kind of need to be stockpiling keys and gems and not spending them here, I think. So I do want to see what's in the library. Let me remind myself, what rarity is the library? The library is unusual. It's actually a rare. We could always take the library and then get the hallway as the next option. Having the hallway at rank 4 in that position would not be the worst. It would be, I assume it would be actually aligned like it is here in the big icon. So you would have a path to the left and the right. That would be fine. I could totally see that being a good option. And this library may not show up again the entire run. It does say draft less common floor plans while drafting in the library. So we could look through our options for uncommons or the what the game calls standard. A lot of those do cost gems. The standard ones do cost gems. Or they cost gems more often is what I'm thinking. We wouldn't want the utility closet because that would dead end us. The security room costs a gem. The workshop doesn't really split our path the way that I would want. The mailroom dead ends us, but the mailroom is very powerful, and it might just be worth taking, even if it dead ends you sometimes. The dining room would be good. Could we get the dining room at this point? From what I've seen so far, the dining room, the earliest that I've seen it is rank 4, which we have reached. So the dining room could show up. Is that what we aim for? We try to draft the library and then hope for the dining room? We could also get the observatory offered again. The conference room would be a really good rare to show up out of the library. The boudoir is a standard that would be okay. I mean, it would be really good actually because we have a nursery. And of course, the hallway can still show up. It's just, it might be, even though it's a common, it might be drowned out by the fact that the library is trying to emphasize the less common rooms. It is nice that the library doesn't cost us a gem. Oh, we could, man, drafting the library and then getting offered something like the archives or the dark room or the weight room. I'm kind of talking myself into this library. I kind of think I want to take the library here. Even if the library goes bust, we end up with something like, who knows, the mailroom, which would be good. That wouldn't be a bust. We would make our run tomorrow potentially very powerful. But we would be dead-ending ourselves. We'd have to go all the way back to the passageway. But we still have 3 ways out to the rest of the map. So if the library ends in a dead end and we don't use all of the map in this direction, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I think I talked myself into it. The library is a rare that potentially gets us more rares. Like, you think about it, like you open a pack in Magic and there's a rare, but it guarantees you, it doesn't guarantee, but it might make it raises the likelihood that you get another rare in the pack that's passed to you. That sounds awesome. And there's a drafting strategy thing that we can read, right? There's a book that we ordered. Let's try the library. Take the rare when you get it. It's not a hard and fast rule, but we're gonna. This is what we said at the start of the draft. Is we're gonna try to prioritize stuff that doesn't come around very often. We get a key as a reward for this. There's just a key there. Awesome. And here we do have our drafting strategy, borrowed by not just us, but also Kimberly Thompson. Kimberly Thompson. I don't know that we know that name. We're also not going to read right now. We're not going to read the drafting strategy volume 3. I'm going to take some screenshots here, and perhaps at the end of the day, we might circle back around to this book. And I'm seeing some stuff here, some images that I'm very curious to oh man, they're gonna give us some strategies for planning the house. Okay, yeah, I don't want to screw with what I have in mind for now. I want to soak in this information later. After that, we'll stick with what we're doing for the run right now, but it looks like there is some very potential. Oh my god, as if I needed more stuff to think about and more information. Like, you can never have enough information, but also there can. That's not really super true actually, because information overload is a thing. So for the moment, we're going to keep our game plan that we've got, but we have screenshotted drafting strategy. If we don't have the steps to make it back to this room directly, then we might, I think we will circle around to that at the end of the day. I'll just double check for any items or anything else stashed or any details that I missed the first time around. We never did find the book that reveals the the elevator to the Mist Observatory, but we'll keep looking. Okay, let's go ahead and draft, because we get. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for a weight room to get offered here. That's maybe not even the best reward, but the fact that we have the shelter today makes me so bad want to be able to get the weight room without having to. Just imagine hitting the weight room and just 0 soreness or 0 exhaustion after the fact, but you still get the muscle building benefits. Let's go. Click. Okay. We do get the Great Hall offered, but 7 locked doors. So interestingly, open up our map here. I did go ahead. We might take the Great Hall just because it's rare. Or is it unusual? But it's not very common, and we know there's an antechamber lever, or probably is an antechamber lever in there somewhere. It's interesting, though, they are also offering us the boiler room. The boiler room gives us the most options leading out to the rest of the house. And there's also the secret passage, which would allow us to choose what color we want. The secret passage could get us the weight room. Yo. But we gotta spend a gem in either case. And I don't love the idea of spending a gem, but I also don't love the idea of spending any of my keys in the Great Hall just yet. Because we're not super stacked on keys. But I did want to mention a detail that I had not picked when we read through the volume 1 of the drafting strategy. There was a picture in the section about the hallway rooms, the orange rooms. There was a picture that showed the foyer. They had mentioned the foyer in a couple of the pages in there, but I was like trying to figure out, why are they mentioning the foyer? I don't know what it does. It's actually shown in that book as, I think its effect, I can check my notes here. I think the effect was that it unlocks all of the doors. It unlocks all the doors that are in the house, right? Anything that's currently locked out of what you've drafted becomes unlocked. Oh, okay, I see it now. It says it's a little different than that. The foyer says that hallway doors are always unlocked. Hallway doors are always unlocked. So the doors in the orange rooms are always unlocked. Now, what I don't know is whether that's retroactive. There's 7 locked doors in the Great Hall. Having all those unlocked would be awesome. But do we get that effect after the fact? Now, another thing to think about is the fact that we do have this special key, the secret garden key, which I think leads to the cloister, but we only have 1 gem. And the cloister, putting that in a draft would be such a waste. But that is one potential place. The Great Hall would be one potential place to use that. I'm thinking the way that I want to do this is take the Great Hall and hold on to my gems, continue to hold on to those. At the same time, taking the secret passage and then getting a red room, is that just not super OP for this run? Because we have the shelter? None of the red rooms cost gems. We would have to pay the gem cost for the secret passage, but we would get to pick from potentially the weight room. The dark room would be fine. The gym would be fine. The archives would be fantastic. There's like 3 fantastic options that we could get at the end of the secret passage. The only downside is that we would be getting it at rank 5. So any of the doors that we get at that point could potentially be locked, even though we're getting 3 of them with the archives or one of the 4-way doors. We would have to potentially put up with locked doors. But I'm thinking, like, the way that my brain wants this to work out is we get one of those 4-way red rooms, and then we go to the left and we get something like the West Wing Hall, or potentially a left-facing elbow that we've got left in our common pool, which we do have the kitchen, and I have the gem to pay for this time. And that could take us down here to the rest of the lower ranks, and we could potentially get some more resources without having to worry about locked doors. That's the one benefit of filling out our lower ranks in the estate. We don't have to completely fill up the map, but that's the benefit of doing so, is that you don't have to worry about keys. The other option is to hold on to your gem and just draft the Great Hall and maybe open a door, maybe not, maybe just come back to it later and hope to get lucky with the foyer and see if the foyer unlocks everything for you. But given the fact that we have never even seen the foyer offered, it's probably a rare. I'm just a little bit worried that we're going to be running out of keys here pretty soon. That's my main concern. And if I'm concerned about that, maybe I just take the boiler room. and I turn to the left right now while I'm still at rank 4. Because if I do take the secret passage and I draft one of those red rooms and I get the weight room that I love and I don't have to spend my steps, half my steps on it, I'm still turning to the left at rank 5, which could be locked. Which maybe is fine because I've got 2 keys still. I think I want to do it. If nothing else, it's fun. Like, this is the fun choice for me, is taking the secret passage and taking a red room. Because why would you usually want to pick red rooms? You usually are going to like steer clear of those. But this is our chance to actually get a benefit out of them. I want to do it. It could be dumb, but I want to do it. And sometimes you just got to do what you feel like. Because you're playing a game. You're playing a game, ultimately. All right. Red rover time. And it is, in fact, a red door. And it's actually locked. This door is locked. So it looks like it's actually rank 4 that you start getting. Okay, we might have to use both of our keys here, which would be kind of sad. I don't want to use a special key. That would be kind of defeating the purpose of guaranteeing the fact that I'm getting red rooms here. So we do use our key, even though I don't love it. And we do get the archives. I forgot about the aquarium, if I'm being honest. I completely forgot that, of course, goes... It's maybe a bit of a spoiler because it dilutes your draft pool a little bit, potentially. Although in some cases it could be really good. But the archives is fantastic, isn't it? And sometimes the archives has stuff in it, like a key card. I think there was a key card one time. We might have gotten very lucky with that. But this is perfect. This is actually exactly what we wanted. Now, a lot of these doors might be locked. And this is where the run might be in a little bit of trouble still if we can't pick up something like, you know, a locksmith. Because I'm not sure that we get the locksmith. I think that's a room that I've not seen very often, and I feel like it might not be offered until we get to later ranks. So we're going to have to see here. All my best laid plans and having fun and getting to draft the archives with 0 downside could still come to a crashing halt much more quickly than I would like. But hey, when you give yourself this many doors, there's got to be some of them that are unlocked, right? This one's locked, dang it. So do we try to draft the unlocked doors first? Probably. Probably? Let me think about that. Do we try to draft unlocked doors before? I guess I would want to see if... Now, this is one place where I've been a little bit inefficient because I have drafted this door here going to the right is drafting into a room that already we could have drafted into from the passageway. So it's a little bit of doubling our work. It's not doubling our work. It's more of just wasting work you've already done. But I don't think I want to draft in this direction. I want to draft over to the left because I still have the den and I still have the hallway and I would have the West Wing Hall as well. I want to put one of those on the left-hand side so that I'm able to actually draft into the lower spaces still. So we're going to do it. We're going to draft to the left, even though it does use our last key. Technically not our last key. Okay. 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 The billiard room is good because it can get us 2 more keys, right? This was the other option, potentially. I forgot about the fact that we still had the billiard room, so there was multiple good reasons for us to draft to the left. So this works out perfectly, I do believe. I will take that billiard room. Thank you very much. And hopefully, yeah, this could be absolutely perfect if it does give us 2 keys in return. This game is so much fun. And I also love the music that we get from the archives. The music in general is really good when it's there. And maybe part of what makes it so good is the fact that it is not always there. 14 plus 16 is 30, divided by 5 is 6. Okay, this one's somewhat involved. 13 minus 10 is 3, and then times and then divided by 3 is also 3. So it looks complicated, but it just ends up as a 3. All right, and we do get 2 keys. Is it always consistent that the parlor gives us gems and the billiard room gives us keys? Maybe so. Rhetorical question. Let's draft down. If we can fill up the rest of this space, if we dead end, we dead end. But it would be great if we get like, you know, I don't have the spare room or the corridor anymore, unfortunately, but I do have the West Wing Hall. Now, I don't want to use the guest bedroom would be fine and the closet would be fine if I have to do those here. Because the 2 items in the closet, they could be gems, and we kind of need those. I don't love using the den or the hallway here, but we might have to, depending on what we get offered, because we have no gems, so our options might be a little bit limited here. We wouldn't be able to draft the kitchen if we get it. One way or the other, we're going to try to draft down. Now, this could be locked. So that is one thing here that could just... Oh, but we got keys back. We got keys back. Okay, it's not locked. Oh, wow. This is perfect. The workshop is actually perfect. It's a straight through that we get. And now we don't get the gems from the den, but this is a common. We can get this theoretically at any time. And we don't want it to go to waste by... We don't want to waste one of its doors if we can help it. So the workshop is perfect. We did get offered the greenhouse again, which is hilarious. But the workshop is kind of just, I mean, I wasn't thinking about it, but it kind of fits perfectly here. Even though we have no items to actually use it, but it's fine. It's in our house now for when we potentially could use it. We get some items later on because we're going to have steps, are we not? Wait a minute. And it does give us a metal detector. That's the other thing, is that the workshop, even though it doesn't says it, I think it has a very high chance of actually containing at least 1 item. So that's awesome. But we don't have anything that we could potentially combine the... Oh, the broken lever does not do anything. So maybe we could combine the broken lever with... Is there some other tool that we could pick up? Like... There are those advanced tools out in the, is it the, let's go to our blueprint here. The advanced, not this, but the room directory. Have we picked this here? The tool shed. Didn't we get like a wrench out in the tool shed one time? Maybe we would be able to combine the wrench with the broken lever to actually fix it. Maybe. Okay. I'm hoping that every door from here on out should be unlocked. If it works the way that I want it to. Ooh, that's a mailroom. Okay, I think we slam dunk the mailroom here. It's a rare in Magic terms, an unusual in Blueprints terms. The freezer doesn't work for us here. Now, okay, I will say this. The freezer may not work the way that I originally thought it. Because we have rooms like the weight room, where when you draft the weight room, the effect sets in immediately. You immediately lose half of your steps. I thought that the freezer would work the same way. I thought that the freezer, as soon as you draft it, it's going to lock into place your coins and your gems, and you don't get to change them until the next day. Maybe it doesn't work like that. Maybe it works like the sauna. Did the sauna work where you only got the steps once you actually stepped in the sauna? I'm not going to pick the freezer here because the mailroom feels very strong. We're going to take the mailroom. That's a great dead end for us here. Okay, now see, in this case, the order was placed as soon as we drafted the room. We did not have to step foot in the room. So I don't know exactly if the freezer would work the same way. The metal detector's going off, though. That's nice. So there's something to find in here. A key, perhaps? Why is it... It's... What is it reacting to? Oh, there was a key on the floor. I'm blind. We got another key as well. Sweet. Okay, so we now have a package to look forward to tomorrow, and that was so good for our run. When, I don't know if it was day 3 or day 4, but whichever run that we had the package delivered was it got off to such a good start. And now I'm looking forward to, hopefully, now we do have to draft the mailroom, of course, but hopefully we can make that happen tomorrow. Okay, we still have a den and we still have a hallway, and it would be great to get our gem now from the den. So if we could choose where to put the den, it would work pretty well above the archives, right? Putting it as the room above the archives would be a pretty okay position. Now we're starting to open up a lot of potential paths here. So it might be better, it could be better theoretically to put the hallway or the den to the right of the archives. And then you could draft a dead end like the guest bedroom in that little the nook next to the nook. If we had an elbow that went to the right and then a dead end down there, that would be the best. But I think we only have left facing elbows. So we would like have to go back around to, I don't even have any left facing elbows left other than the kitchen. The kitchen is my only thing that I have left. I need a gem to get the kitchen. Let's draft up from the archives. Let's go upward and see if we, I think we're gonna aim to put either the hallway or the, make sure I'm facing the right direction, or the den. The den I think would be ideal because we have 0 gems right now. And that is unlocked. Oh, it gets us the dining room. That's even better. Well, it's not even better, but that's great. The dining room is perfect. We have that blessing from the shrine that we are hoping to get at some point. We would have to spread things around. We need to get one of the rooms that spreads to the rest of the place, but that's great. The dining room is more than fine here. And then I think I do step through the dining room, and I have both the closet and the guest bedroom left that I would love to put to the left. We could also get offered the garage by going to the left in the dining room. Right, and I keep forgetting the garage actually has 3 keys in it, so that would be great. The wine cellar would be nice, but that is an unusual rarity. And I also think the wine cellar, well, we are on rank 6. The earliest that we've seen the wine cellar is at rank 6, but we do have that unlocked now. The utility closet would be an okay dead end that's at uncommon. Yeah, let's go ahead and draft into the dining room. Let's go in this direction here. Do they leave any gems laying around in the dining room by any chance? Did somebody decide to tip the staff with a gem? And then we're coming behind and stealing that tip. Which makes us a horrible person. There's the garage. Oh, I forgot though. We don't have, you need a gem for the garage. I'm such a dingus. I forgot about that. Okay. We could take the maid's chamber, and that would count as our 3rd red room, unfortunately. But we could also just take the West Wing Hall here. The West Wing Hall's not bad. It's not terrible. It's a fine addition to your rooms. It's not a bad deal. I don't want to use... We would get extra steps from the maid's chamber, and we are down to 22 steps. That's not a inconsequential consideration here. So picking the maid's chamber just to give ourselves 8 extra steps, that's kind of what I was thinking about doing, was going for the guest bedroom. This might have to suffice. We just would lose out on any further effect from the shelter. But being able to bypass this restriction with the maid's chamber, less likely to find items laying around the house. Now that we have a workshop, we want to get as many items as we can. Yeah, let's do this. Let's take the maid's chamber, and then we will draft to the right from the dining room. I think we'll draft right from the dining room instead of the archives, because I don't want to block off the passageway just yet. Because if we can make it back to the passageway without having to go all the way back through the corridor, that would be nice. So let's pick the maid's chamber. And who knows? Maybe because it's a bedroom, there might be some gems. Ooh, there is something. There is a thing here. A lucky rabbit's foot? Oh my god. We actually not just got sheltered from the maid's chamber effect, we've also greatly buffed our chance to find items. We've gone in the exact opposite direction. Holy shit. And we get our +8 steps from the nursery. Okay, that's cool. Now I wonder, I do wonder, could we combine a lucky rabbit's foot along with a metal detector? Is that something? Could we somehow turn that into a crazy, find the ultimate finder of things that also makes things materialize out of thin air, and perhaps coins out of thin air as well? That's really cool. I like that. Okay. Okay, so now the question is, I think we still draft. We still draft, or see if we can draft from here. We might have a locked door to contend with. We do have a locked door. Do I go ahead and open it here? I have 28 steps. It would take me 3 to go to the workshop if I want to check and see if I can do this thing. And then if I'm not drafting here, I could draft the door in the archives that's remaining. But then there's a good chance that I am... Well, let me look at my comments again here. I still have not used either my den or my hallway. If I did get the den or the hallway, I would want that to be here, right? I would want that to come out of the dining room, because then the door that goes down from the den or the hallway, I would want to have a left hand... But I'm out of elbows, really. I don't have elbows left. This is the thing. My draft pool, at least at the common level, has no more elbows except for the kitchen, which I can't afford right now. So maybe my whole game plan here is a little bit too overcomplicated. And I just need to bite the bullet and go back around to the passageway at some point if I need to check those doors. That might be it. So why don't we keep it simple and just draft from where we are? Don't try to overthink this. Just draft from... The only thing is it's a locked door, so you would be using a key. So it might be better to go back to the archives and draft my hallway there. I really need gems, man. That's what I need. And that gem from the den is like... It might outweigh any other concern that we have, and we're just so desperate for having a gem that will put the den almost anywhere. So that's what I'm going to do. If I have to put the den right here next to the dining room, I'll do it. Use the key. Okay. I'll take my hallway. The boudoir is not bad. The boudoir is one of the left-hand options that I did not... It's an uncommon, so I wasn't thinking about it. So that could be nice for us to get the hallway and then get the boudoir below it. That would kind of be the best option here. And the boudoir, of course, gets a +8 steps whenever we draft it. But also, it's really dang inefficient. It's really dang inefficient to put the hallway here. And then it's like you have 3 doors all going to the same room in the middle there that you don't need. You don't need that many doors going to one room. So maybe just take the boudoir here. If I'd have gotten the den, I might have just slam dunked it. But because it's the hallway and we still have 2 keys left, I think the boudoir actually makes more sense. Let's do it. Let's take the boudoir. And I think I'm actually going to... There could be items in here. So it's worth checking to see if there's a gem. Another reason to take the boudoir. There's a metal detector going off. So it's not a gem, but it does look like we got a coin. And a key! Wow. Pog champion, as the kids like to say. Nothing else, but man, a key and a coin? Holy shit. Now, do we keep drafting in this direction? I really need gems. We could put a den here, right? This would be a perfect place to put a den. So let's try drafting in this direction and see if we get a den offered. Because that's where I'd love to put it. No, not a dark room. No. Oh, the dark room. Just when we've used the last of our shelter from the storm. The shelter from the dark room. That would have been so sick if we could have gotten the dark room one red room sooner. I forgot we did get our lucky rabbit's foot, and that's probably what helped us just now, getting the key and the coin. Lucky rabbit's foot for the win. Already coming in handy. I mean, this is the only option. We have to take the dark room. Literally cannot take anything else. So the only question is, do we draft in the dark room? Because now now I've kind of, oh man, I've really screwed myself here. I want to get lucky, and I want to go into the dark room and take the top room, or draft the top door and take the option on the left and hope that it's the den. I'm going to look at my draft results for the den, and we're up at rank 8, and we haven't used the den yet. Have I overdone it, guys? Have I gone too far? Because we could get the den at any time, except now my draft pool is pretty diluted, and it may not necessarily give me that den. But I do think the den is most likely to appear, I don't know, maybe not most likely to appear on the left. It's not sure. I've seen it a number of times, 3 times on the left, on the far left, and then it's been 2 times on the far right. But those have all been early, right? The 3 of those have been like from the entrance hall. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get it at this point, especially when we are literally shooting in the dark. Now here's something I didn't think about. We could actually circle back around. We don't have to draft the dark room yet. What we can do is we can work our way back through the house to the other side and try to draft from the east wing hall, and try to draft a gem, try to draft a den over there. Because I forgot that since it's up against the wall, it's actually going to put, the den is going to be aligned in a way that's actually good for us. So I think that's the correct move. We could try drafting the archives door if it's unlocked. If it's locked, I think we pass, because we can go around and see if the passageway door is unlocked. And now that I'm thinking of it, this is one benefit to having multiple doors leading to the same room, is that, or one of the same patch of your blueprints, is that one of them might be unlocked. Would we ever be able to combine our lucky rabbit's foot with the metal detector? Doesn't really make sense, but I have no clue in this game. There could be some insane off-the-wall interactions that I'm just not creative enough to dream up. No, okay. What would we possibly use? The broken lever plus the lucky rabbit's foot? Okay, no dice. So this workshop so far is not really, the potential lead that we had with the workshop was what? The battery plus the sledgehammer? Or was it the metal detector? I don't remember. We will try to draft this archives door, but if it's locked, we save the key. Aha! Perfect! I mean, not perfect. I would have loved to have a gem for the observatory here, but we can get 2 items, which could be gems. I don't need... Well, the utility closet is interesting because we do have the dark room. And the thing that I had talked about before, I had completely forgotten to turn the lights back on and actually examine the dark room. So that's something to think about. But I feel like here, the closet, we're desperate for gems. And the closet, I kind of forgot could possibly have those gems. So in this case, I think we have to take the closet, if we want to keep our run going, which I do. So closet it is. And it does look like we get a gem as well as a reroll option. That's also good. These are both excellent pickups. Now I can feel better about heading into the next draft and not dreading it. Dreading the opening of that door and not having gems to spend. It's such a bad feeling. Okay, we are going below 20 steps here, but that should be okay. We still have the guest bedroom at some point to draft. I wouldn't love to draft it here. I would love to have a den or a hallway. Either one of those would be acceptable. Would really love the den. No! God damn it. Shit. Bunk room is also another thing, though. I forgot about the fact that the bunk room counts as 2 bedrooms. We would get 16 steps from this, which is fucking amazing. And we might get 2 gems. We could also get 2 keys, but that wouldn't be terrible. We would save our gem, but we would be limiting our options a bit. We still have the dark room to draft. So when we're desperate here, we head back to the dark room. And I mean, the other option is to use my die. But dare I redraw this? Like, the bunk room is really good. It's really good for us. But we do potentially limit our options going out of the passageway. But we also have, if we save our reroll, we can reroll the passageway. I just don't think that if we get the den or the hallway, I don't think it's going to rotate it the way that we want it. I think those are basically both going to be a dead end if we draft them from the passageway now. But who knows, maybe the floor plan would help us in a way that I'm not thinking. The other option is just go with the courtyard. There might be a trunk in the courtyard, which we have keys for. It's definitely between the bunk room and the courtyard. I feel if that wasn't obvious already, we would never take the guest bedroom here when we can have the bunk room. So it's between those two. I think I'm actually going to go with the courtyard here. I don't love spending that last gem, but I also hate the idea of blocking ourselves off on this side. If we take the bunk room, yes, we could get gems. We would get a lot of steps, but we would basically, we would have the passageway left. And if we don't hit a good result on the passageway, then we're basically counting on the dark room. We're down to just the dark room and rolling the dice to see what happens there. At the same time, the courtyard does cost a gem, and you would be getting gems back with the bunk room, but it's just the positioning is so much better for us if we get the courtyard here and then like the den above it, that sort of a thing. The courtyard could have security doors. That is one thing that could happen. So, oh man. I just thought of the security doors and now I'm second guessing myself again. I'm going to take the courtyard. I could be very disappointed, obviously, but I think this is the right play. And I don't want to redraw the floor plans either here and use my last reroll. So we're going to try this. Okay, that door up there is not a security door, which is good. And that door is not a security door either. Whew. And there's a trunk. Okay. Is there also by any chance a shovel? I thought, with this lucky rabbit's foot, there might be some chance that they would give us a shovel in a green room. Because there's stuff to dig up, Now, there was a metal detector going off. So I guess there's a key here. Look at that. All right. So we get a key as well as potentially, this is the other reason to pick the courtyard, because we know that it has a chest that can appear here, and a chest can have gems. Do we want to open that first? We have 3 keys, so I think so. I think we do, because it could have gems, and you want to have gems going into a draft. Now the metal detector immediately starts going off. Oh my god, we got a set of car keys. And we do get 1 gem. Great. So the car keys, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to utilize those now at this point. It's going to be pretty difficult. Well, no, never mind. I thought for a second that the garage you draft it from the right. So if, I don't know how far up the garage could be drafted. We've drafted it as low as, or we've seen it offered as low as rank 4. I would presume that it could be offered all the way up to rank 9. So that would be nice if we could make our way over and get the garage offered to us and potentially get another upgrade disc, or who knows what would be inside the car. It could be anything. Could be even more gems. Okay, Now I think we try to put the den here. The den would be... This is where I want the den. I want it to be here. Please. Now, let's just see what we get. Let's see what we get. Oh, okay. That is a wine cellar. That's a wine cellar. It dead ends us again. But we could try one more time to get the den to the left of the courtyard. Or some other elbow that points us upward or something. The wine cellar gets us 3 gems. You know what that also does for us? That's a very interesting pickup. The wine cellar giving us 3 gems could... Well... So my idea was using... We still have this secret garden key, which I think gets us the cloister. But I don't know that for sure. But what we could do is we could go back to the dark room and open up the top room to see if we can get the cloister with the secret garden key. But the problem is that top door has to be locked. And we don't know whether it's locked, and we only have 17 steps. We only have 17 steps. So... we could get 3 steps by drafting the observatory and getting ourselves a star. And maybe if this run is, you know, coming to an end, banking some progress toward the next run might not be the worst idea. Now, if we do reach rank 8, we've got the dining room still. I don't know what the meal is in the dining room, but we reach rank 8, and we can get the more steps from that. So could we, if we drafted... Let's say we draft the wine cellar. We take, so we would step inside the wine cellar. It would be 16. And then we would have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to be out of steps. We would not make it back to the dining room after drafting up into rank 8. We would be just out of steps. We would be just short. Oh, those steps that I once again wasted at the very beginning because I didn't go out and draft. And I took the steps out of... because I was impatient waiting for the safe to open. Oh, these little minor mistakes that are coming back to haunt us once again. I really should take the wine cellar here, shouldn't I? And then we have our chance to draft the den again at the courtyard. Or something like the cloister. Like we could do the cloister right here in the courtyard, but that would be, it feels like such a waste of a cloister. But it would potentially guarantee us getting into the rest of the map from this direction without having to go all the way back around to the dark room. We do have redraw floor plans. If we don't get what we want the first time, we can redraw. Let's take the wine cellar and hope for the best. Hope to get lucky. We at least know we can take whatever options we get offered. I totally misread my Roman numerals before, thinking that this was, I just took this as a V in my mind. Like, I know that X is a 10 and V is a 5, but I just, like, totally took this as a V for whatever reason. Okay, let's see what we get now going out of the other door. It is also locked. So this would be our last key. The trouble that I have here is if I try to go around... Did we already check the door, though, from the passageway to see if it was locked? And this is another question that I asked before, and I don't know if I have the answer to it still. But when a door is locked into a certain room, does that mean it's locked from every direction that would also go into that room? I think that might be the case. This door here in the passageway might be locked. I think we did try to open this earlier, didn't we? So it's locked from both directions. We use our last key here, don't we? Yeah, we do it. It's not great, but we do it. We still have the special key if we really, 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 really want to. But I need help here. Okay, okay. Yeah, I was afraid. I think the game, the game is sort of like, the game is saying you should have taken that bunk room, you dingus, because you need steps. We should take the bunk room here, shouldn't we? Because we want to make it, it would be, if we decide not to use the key, then we should take it back to the coat check. Or we could take any of our items back to the coat check. Like our lucky rabbit's foot would be not a bad one to check in, would it? Let's take the bunk room this time. I probably was too greedy before. We ended up getting 3 gems out of it, though. I guess we had to spend a gem with the courtyard, but through the courtyard, we got 4 gems in return, so that was a big profit. So, all right, bunk room, and we might even get more gems in addition to these steps that we pick up as a result of drafting 2 bedrooms, which is not bad. And then we see we do, in fact, have 2 gems. And now the metal detector is going off as well. Did we have something over here before? There's 2 coins. Look at that. Look at that. Lucky rabbit's foot? Probably. Okay, we're gem rich. So this is the perfect time now, isn't it? For if my theory is correct, we'll see if we get a locked... We're going to have to see if we get a locked room in the dark room. But if that room at the top is locked, we could get a cloister if we decide to use our secret garden key. It's so funny, though, that with this passageway, we ended up basically using it as an elbow room because we didn't draft out of any of these. Oh my god, what a waste of gems. It's, you know, this drafting, the drafting blueprints is tough, guys. This is not easy. It is so nice, though. We've passed through the chapel several times now, not having to pay that tithe. So nice. So very nice. Just to be sure here, we don't get to borrow another book today, do we? So if we want to do more of the books in the library, it looks like we have to come back on a second day. So, or I guess it would be a third day in this case. Another day after this one is the point. Okay, and once again, lights out in the dark room, because that's what it do. Now, will this one be locked? It is. We get to use our special key. Okay, let's see if this does what I think it does. The key does not fit. No. It doesn't do what I thought it does. Maybe this key actually does. For a second, I thought that this is actually a feature of the dark room. I thought, well, it's not going to let you draft the cloister in the dark room. But I wonder if it actually only does work in one particular place. And the place that actually does open up to the secret garden. Because what I was thinking is the secret garden is the cloister, a covered walk and colonnade surrounding an enclosed and seemingly inaccessible garden. A solitary angelic statue in the center of the grassy patch provides the secluded court a hallowed atmosphere. I must misunderstand then. Unless it is true that you cannot use the secret garden key in the dark room specifically, because that was my idea, to try to subvert the restriction of the dark room, because the dark room does show you the gem costs. And I thought if this key leads to the cloister, we can use it in the dark room, and I'll see that one of them costs 3 gems, and I take that one. I know it's the cloister. Looks like I might be SOL, guys. Oh my god. Are we going to end this run without drafting either the den or the hallway? Is that really going to happen here? That's actually going to happen. Holy crap. Well, that was unexpected. I certainly did not expect that to be the way that the run came to an end. But so it does. It's not completely at an end because we still have our drafting strategy book that we can read, and we do have maybe a little bit more experimentation that we can do, but we cannot draft any more rooms. That's so disappointing because we ran out of keys, and I misunderstood how the secret garden key works. Dang. That was in a lot of ways that felt like it was a very good draft, but I maybe made the mistake perhaps of holding on to both the hallway and the den for too long. In this case, we ended up getting a lot of gems. Maybe we got lucky with the bunk room and the wine cellar there, but we definitely could have used at least one extra key. Keys are, man, getting the garage and these other ways to supply yourself with keys is so important. And not having too many doors, spreading out too much when you've gotten to rank 5 may not be smart. It's one of the advantages of spreading out earlier on in the game and not dead-ending yourself with a coat check and a storeroom in the entrance hall. You get to draft these other rooms earlier on without worrying about running into the keys. And then when you're at those points in the later game, maybe making the beeline for the antechamber is the better move. Or maybe we just got really unlucky. We did get what feels like a lot of locked doors. So whatever the case may be, I think we have plenty of extra steps here for us to, well, maybe not plenty. If I want to make it back to the coat check, let's think about this. If I go back to the coat check from here, I have 16 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, the bedroom's free, actually, so it's 9, 10, 11, 12. I really can't go to the workshop. I was thinking of going to the workshop and playing around with whatever else, except we didn't really get anything else that would have been worth playing around in the workshop. We did our experimenting there. So that is a worthless idea anyways. So we do get to go back to the coat check at some point. So let's do this. Let's spend the rest of our time by checking out, make sure I do step in the right direction here, but if I just go left and then all the way down, we can get back to the library. And with the remaining time, we didn't get to finish our run the way we wanted to. So guess what? Back to the drawing board, or in this case, the drafting strategy architectural digest to figure out where we went wrong. The potential within by the editor. Let's start there. Oh, is there? Oh, by the editor. I just thought that maybe there were different sections written by different people, but okay. The potential within. We all start as an empty floor plan. To the ambitious young architect, a fresh blueprint represents a world of boundless possibilities. When you're staring at a blank canvas, you have unlimited potential and ideas to explore. But with an abundance of options at your disposal, the architect can also become overwhelmed by the countless choices and decisions that need to be made. Should I draft a hallway or a closet? How many bedrooms do I need in my house? Is passageway really worth 2 gems? God damn it. God damn it. I agree with that statement. Or I am questioning the same way that statement is. All these questions can be compound, adding layers of complexity and stress to the design process. That's why it's even more important to develop simple and effective strategies that you can employ while drafting your house to ensure a successful project outcome. In this volume of Architectural Digest, we aim to provide architects with some of those strategies and even assist them in developing their own. Gems, gems, gems. Every architect needs them. No shit. Although many architects employ different strategies when developing their house designs, most of them agree on one guiding principle: have gems while drafting. One of the most common ways architects draft themselves into a corner is by not having the resources they need when opening a new door. We've learned this lesson. If you lack the gems to consider all 3 presented options, you may be forced to draft a room you do not want. To avoid this predicament, focus on drafting rooms that grant you gems and prioritize acquiring gems as early in the day as you can. This approach is a surefire way to set yourself up for success. So it could be that maybe you don't unlock gem doors like I thought you did. The fact that we got that kitchen offered at the start of the day, even though we had not yet picked up a gem. And they're telling us here, draft gems as early as possible. Don't wait around. Draft that den if you have to make sure. Maybe that's the better option. maybe putting that den on rank 1 isn't such a bad move, and I should be okay with it. Reader submitted gem strats. Make sure you check for gems in the room you are in before clicking the door. I do this way too much, Alice F. I think we're pretty good on that front. Think about saving some gems for emergencies. I try to only spend them if I really, really need a room. Yep. I will never draft passageway on the first 5 ranks. It's a simple strat that has served me well. Okay, never on the first 5 ranks. Why is that? Never draft passageway on the first 5 ranks. Is that because you want to use it after the first 5 ranks? Because at that point, I wonder, I'd like to get some more explanation from Kyle P. Is it just to maximize the chance that you don't have a locked door? But then wouldn't it be better to use it before you get to rank 5 or before you get to rank 4? Because then you're guaranteed for it to not be locked doors? I'm not sure. If you see gems for sale in any of the shops, buy them out. Maybe that's another thing that we've been missing out, is we should be getting the commissary more often to try to get gems from it. The commissary is an uncommon or standard. I think I had mistakenly thought it was common at one point. But regardless, we haven't drafted as many shops recently. Maybe I should be prioritizing those more. Don't pass up wine cellar. Even if you're not thirsty, there's no such thing as too many gems. I may have a bit of a problem. Craig O. Yeah, the wine cellar, especially because it is unusual. Gotta snap it up when you can. Planning your house, estate layout, and drafting. When you begin drafting a house, it's important to start each day with a solid foundation. Draft early ranks first. A very common mistake beginners make is drafting in a straight line north. We did that on our second day. And ignoring the many unopened doors they have left behind in the entrance hall and rooms of the early ranks. When these architects reach the higher ranks, they quickly discover they do not have enough keys or gems to continue. Their day usually ends by returning to the lower ranks to draft from the doors they skipped, only to find rooms and items that would have made all the difference if they had only been found earlier in the day. We also learned that lesson as well. Make sure you do as much resource gathering as you can. As the layout on the right demonstrates, even a path of rooms that snakes through the house and does not go in a straight line can also be structurally weak if you are leaving lots of unopened doors on the ranks behind you. By starting each day on a strong foundation of rooms on the early ranks, you will have a much better chance of finding success when you eventually start heading further into the house. Okay, so this is advising us to do kind of what I had thought after day 2, where I kind of was thinking of, let's try to snake our way across each rank and fill it up as much as possible. That seems to be what this is advising. And if we're assuming that this is written from the perspective of the developers, seems like it's at least very much worth strongly considering. Top drafting combos, 5 combos you won't want to miss. Another aspect to consider when planning your house is the order in which you draft rooms. Okay, now some of this stuff is like entry-level strategy, which we've kind of, I think, figured out. Now we might be getting to the juicier stuff, which are some of the combos and like the stuff that the information that's not presented to us directly through the menu system so far is if certain rooms depend on other rooms in order to be drafted. I'm wondering if that's what they're going to tell us here. So, for instance, if you draft Cloister before Terrace, you will be down 3 gems. Okay, maybe this is where it's going. But if you draft them in the reverse order, Cloister would be free. Identifying a synergistic pair of floor plans is an essential first step. But determining the optimal order for drafting those rooms will provide you with an additional advantage, significantly improving your chances of success. Okay, so it's not like in Hades, where there are certain abilities that are locked. They have prerequisite abilities. You have to draft the more common ability first, and then you get access to the stronger, more powerful ability later. It doesn't seem to be that case here. It does seem as though you might have some rooms that are locked behind particular ranks, but I don't get the sense that the Cloister is locked behind the Terrace. When that does happen, like in the case of the pool, where you did have 3 rooms that were locked behind the pool, it's very explicit about it. It doesn't seem as though there are hidden prerequisites that are under the surface. And that's what I was wondering about, whether this section was going to inform us of hidden prerequisites. But instead, it's giving us ideas for combos. We wondered about the foyer earlier, or a foyer drafted before a great hall would mean that all of its many doors would be unlocked. You do have to order them correctly. Order matters. Drafting bunk room after nursery will give you 10 extra steps because, well, in our case 16, because it counts as 2 separate bedroom triggers. The office and the conference room, we've also figured this one out. You won't have to backtrack constantly to collect your office gold spread from the office if you draft a conference room. And here's a room we haven't seen offered even once, I don't think. An attic, along with a workshop. The more items you have, oh my God, the attic has 8 items? This must be a rare. And who knows, maybe it's only offered at rank 9. Like maybe it's a rare and at rank 9, who knows? The more items you have, the greater your chances of being able to create a contraption in the workshop. That also totally makes sense. The juiciest one to me here is the foyer with the Great Hall. Holy shit, do I want to make that happen? More than any of these others. I want to get 8 items. And the workshop is interesting. We just haven't gotten anything to work yet in the workshop, so I don't quite understand the potential strength. We'll get there eventually. Making a connection, a state connectivity. 2-pair combos aren't the only form of room synergy. You will find some floor plans only work by drafting other specific rooms. These rooms aren't powerful on their own, but can become very useful when their connectivity is eventually discovered. The utility closet is a perfect example of this. It doesn't do anything by itself, but it can literally power up or down other rooms you've drafted in your house. The garage powers the garage door, grants west path access, which we've done. The dark room turns lights back on after blowing a fuse, which we have done, but we didn't take the time to check it out. Oh, this one we had not figured out, though. Look at this. The gymnasium, you can turn the lights off to prevent step loss. Oh, shit. No exercise requirement or impediment if the lights are off. What the hell? Would never have guessed that. Other examples of connectivity. One of the more simple ones is her ladyship's chamber, another one we haven't seen offered, which has synergy with Lady Epson's other 2 rooms, her boudoir and her walk-in closet. That's probably who was pictured. Then maybe the person with the Cindy Crawford mole is Lady Epson, because that was the picture that was in the walk-in closet. Maybe that's her, or maybe that's her daughter or a cousin, who knows. So her ladyship's chamber, that's got to be another one that's super rare and maybe only accessible on rank 9 or something like that. The boiler room connects ducts from room to run steam power to specific destinations in the house. Laboratory, garage, laundry room, furnace. The furnace and the pump room all have uses for steam power. That makes... Wait, the garage as well? How would the garage or the furnace benefit from this? I definitely have not figured out the boiler room yet. The boiler room, we were able to at least navigate our way around the room, but there was that panel up on the top of the boiler that kind of had... I'm going to have to study whatever was up there again, because I definitely made no sense of it. I felt pretty good about the pump room and what we figured out there. Speaking of pump room, this room controls the water level throughout rooms in the estate and can interact directly with the pool, the aquarium, the greenhouse, the kitchen, and several other features located outside of the main house. That's right, there is a reservoir theoretically somewhere. Who knows where we would be accessing the reservoir from, but it's got to be somewhere on the grounds. And then we have our tips and tricks. In the kitchen, you can check which course is being served in the dining room that day. This will allow you the opportunity to draft specific rooms to make the meal even more delicious. Got that. Besides counting as 2 bedrooms, the bunk room also counts as 2 rooms. This will increase the amount of steps granted by master bedroom. We don't know what the master bedroom does. Haven't drafted that one yet. The amount of gold spread by the tomb, and the amount of keys found in the servants' quarters. This is hilarious that we're, it's 6 drafts. It's not a huge amount of drafts, but we are 6 drafts in, and we've literally never been offered some of these rooms. And there's like 5 or 6 of them here that we just haven't even seen. Oh God, each time you solve a puzzle in the billiard room or parlor, the difficulty will increase slightly the next time you draft that room. Oh no. I was kind of wondering, because it did feel like the math was getting a little bit more involved in the billiard room. The parlor, I hadn't really felt it yet. I just assumed that it was just going to be a bunch of different random logic statements that are put together, or it's drawing from a pool of various logic statements that would have to fit the constraints. But they're going to go up in difficulty. That's a little scary. Just because you didn't find any items in a room when you first explored it doesn't mean that will be the case the next time you draft it. Yeah, we've seen that for sure. The day after drafting Freezer, it enters an automated cooldown refreezing cycle during which it cannot be drafted for the next 24 hours. There's a cooldown period for the Freezer. Okay. If you're stuck or don't know what to do in a specific room, sometimes it's smart to move on. There are multiple ways to solve many of the challenges you will come across, and there's a very good chance you'll find a piece of information down the road which may help. We definitely, that one I'm not trying to solve everything in one go, because I could tell from the get-go that this was going to be a game where there's bits and pieces of information that are spread out all over the place that you've got to do a lot of hunting and information gathering first before really trying to dig or sink your teeth into puzzle solving. When in doubt, draft rooms you've never seen before. Even if you don't think the rooms seem very useful, they may still hold useful clues and information that may help you on your journey. For sure. Words from the editor. Although with this volume, we provided our readers with many potential strategies and tricks to try, we here at Architectural Digest hope that aspiring architects know that there truly is no set blueprint for success. Forging your own path and coming up with your own unique strategies will, in our humble opinion, always provide the best results. Each architect has his own favorite room, each building his own favorite tool, and thus each player in turn will develop their own style of play and discover their own secrets and tricks that they can share with the world, or keep to themselves. Whatever strategy you employ, we wish you best of luck drafting and hope you build the house of your dreams. All right, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. Some of those, I would say a lot of like the general advice was stuff that we've already kind of pieced together here on our own, but the game specific advice that involves certain rooms is very useful. Getting an idea for what lies in store, even though we haven't seen a bunch of the rooms that were mentioned in that book, it still is very... I love getting as much information as possible. You know it. You know how much I love it already, and we do get back to our coat check, and I think this time we're going to check the Lucky Rabbit's Foot. That one feels like, first of all, it's the one that we've seen the least. This is the first time we've seen it, and we've managed to get the secret garden key twice, and we really don't know what to do with it, even though supposedly it can be used on regular doors. And maybe it's just that, and it just we couldn't use it because it was the dark room. I was trying to use it in the wrong place. Or the room where you can't use it. I don't know if it's that, or if you actually do have to use it in a place like the car keys. The car keys you have to use on the car in the garage. Is the secret garden key the same way? Or is it more like the silver key, where it opens up access to particular rooms or changes your draft in some way? For now, we're going to check in the Lucky Rabbit's Foot, and we'll see if we get access to that tomorrow. We definitely know that we have a package that's on the way. Hopefully we can get access to that tomorrow as well. We didn't get to take advantage of our blessing of the chef, but we do have that for 4 more days. It was really fun drafting the shelter, I have to admit. Just wish we would have been able to subvert the restrictions of the dark room. This red letter, I'm going to be fascinated if this carries over to the next day. But the juicy intel that we were able to glean from going into the shelter, just from that alone, made this run really, really a fun discovery for this run. And man, this game is just so dang good. I am so looking forward to starting another draft and getting to see if we can make all the things come together and maybe draft all the rooms in the first few ranks and follow the advice of our new strategy guide that we picked up. And we'll see how it goes next time. Thank you all. Oh, I almost forgot. The last step here is to call it a day. Let me just make sure there's nothing else that I want to do before we call it a day. Yeah, I think we've done everything that we're going to do for today. We didn't even get to use our last die, which is so, oh my God, so many things that we coulda, shoulda, woulda. I feel like there's probably going to be so many drafts where I'm left saying that or thinking that they regret, but that's why you have a new day. That's why you have a new draft, so you can make it all come together next time around. We opened up apparently a respectable inn at Mount Holly on day 6. Day 6 ended up with 6 bedrooms. There you go. We still ended up with 3 new rooms. What were those new rooms? I guess we drafted the passageway for the first time. The nursery was one of them, wasn't it? We did get the nursery for the first time. Let's make a note to check the flavor text on nursery next time. I think our layout was definitely, we had a better game plan going in, but we still might have waited too long on both hallway and den. Maybe there's some wiggle room between using those right away at the start and saving them for later in the draft. We'll see how it goes next time. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.